Well, happy Tuesday night, everyone. This is going to be a good one. But as you know, before I start, we are on number 26. Welcome to Kicking Back with Ballard's Bowling Academy. When we started this, we said we want people to take notice of our pro shop and the things that we offer bowlers, and it has morphed into something so much more, because one of the things I feel very passionate about is making sure people really know history about bowling, people that were inspirational or mentors in bowling. And really, that's what this has grown into. And I could not be more excited about tonight's show. But before we start, just a reminder, on Saturday at 10 a.m., I will be bowling at City View Lanes, the Turkey Trot Tournament, North Central Texas USBC, one of the best local associations I have ever been a part of, is hosting that event. Come visit me while I'm bowling, and also make sure to stop in and see EJ at Ballard's Bowling Academy. We have all our Black Friday stuff on sale starting on Friday at noon at City View and at 1 o'clock at Watauga. And you can check out our Facebook page for our flyer. We have a lot of stuff going on for Black Friday. And something that we just added is that everyone who comes into the pro shop, everyone, whether you buy something or not, make sure you pick up one of our raffle tickets. Put your name, your email, and your phone number. We're giving away 5 prizes at the end of Black Friday. So it's going to be a fun-filled day. We always throw something in there, and we look forward to seeing everyone. Before we get started, I have to go about my words, right? So for today's guests, I had to reach out to some of our very good friends from many years ago to see what words really resonate with these 3 gals. And I'm going to start with the funny first, because it is 3 that we will be introducing, but I feel like the 4th wheel here tonight, because I think I fit into some of these words, especially the ones Larry, Curl, and Mo. I'm just throwing that one out there. And I'm not going to say who said that one, but they are related to one of the guests. So again, I say Larry, Curly, Mo. Anyway, respectful and trouble were words that belonged to all 3 people. But let's start with individuals. Anne-Marie Dugan, loyal, yes, friend, driven, sister, champion, domination, dedicated, hard worker, fierce, disciplined, and not shy. Tammy Turner.
Oh, here we go.
Loyal, friend, natural talent, easy power, champion, funny, brave, sister, and sister from another mother. Teammate, strong. Kathy, Dora, and Lizzie. Funny, sister, hidden comedian, champion, hard worker, dependable, strong, proprietor, caring to a fault. You can imagine who said that one. Competitive and determined. But what I am the most proud of is, this is my tribe. Welcome, all 3 ladies. It is us back together tonight on Kicking Back. How is everybody?
I'm fabulous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
And it has already started. This Kicking Back has just gone to the wind.
Look, I know this is fun because I'm sober. I haven't even had a drink, and this is amazing.
Okay, we want to make sure that somewhere in there, I think mentor is one of those words. So we're going to attempt to keep this clean, but probably not. But Anne-Marie, we're going to start with you, because there is 3 of us on here, or 4, I actually should say. And I'm going to be throwing some questions out there, and you can all answer, but I'll pick one to start it. Anne-Marie, 15
Okay.
titles, domination. You never made a Black Phantom looked bad. It was amazing.
I love that
Uh,
ball. I liked all the
three,
Phantoms.
three major
Was I the only one?
championships. Yes, no, three
No,
major
I love them.
championships. You're from Southern California, but you now reside in Oklahoma, Edmond, Oklahoma. Anne
I
Marie Dugan's Pro Shop.
Yes,
How did
ma'am.
you go from California to Oklahoma?
Well, um, it's kind of hard to travel on the ladies' tour coming from California because most of our tournaments, we had a few on the West Coast, we did, but most of them were in the center or in the East. And then after I got married, there was no way I was going to live on the East Coast. Sorry. Nothing personal.
That's
But
really rude, Anne-Marie.
and no, nothing
Born and
personal.
raised on the
It's
East Coast.
I know.
That's
Please
just,
don't take offense, but they're just different.
We
I
won't.
don't
We won't.
like to
Okay.
yeah.
I don't like to be at the beach and trying to get the good rays with my head at the water. I like my feet to be at the water. The East Coast is different. We get to lay and look at the beach to get the supreme, you can tell by my tan, I'm really a sun worshiper. But
Out of Oklahoma, that Oklahoma tan.
I got to tell you what, I get more sun here than I ever got in Southern California. It's way hotter here. And it's cheap to live here. It was a good location to travel from. We did think about Dallas, but when I went to Dallas, I thought, I'm not living here. Tell Ballard, no, no, no. I'm not. No,
That's why
I'm
I
not.
never went back.
Yeah,
I
no.
figured, no, I'm not going there.
The
No.
traffic, and it's pretty. It's very congested. Let's put it that
Right.
way. A lot
Right.
of people. A lot of people like it there. I don't
Right.
dislike it there, but I don't want to live in that kind of traffic.
No.
So we ended up going up to Oklahoma, and we really liked it.
And you live in the house that's called the compound. And I want to tell everybody now, this is definitely going to run into an hour, but I am during the week probably going to be posting some pictures on our Ballard's Bowling Academy Facebook page of pictures that we can't get up tonight, but of Anne Marie's house. And so I hope you'll take a minute just to look because there's some great photos of history on there. Tammy, you've lived in Texas, Ohio, Utah, and now you're back in Florida, but you were raised in Florida, obviously. So now being back there, what took you all through your travels? How did you get to Ohio and then back to
Okay.
Florida?
All right. So actually, I was born in New York. Let's not
Oh,
forget
that's correct.
my
Yeah.
old hometown of Newburgh,
Mhm.
New York. Shout out to my peeps there.
Yeah.
So let's not forget, right?
Yeah.
So my parents moved to Florida when I was 2 years old. I grew up here. And then by the grace of God, I ended up at West Texas A&M University, which was West Texas State back in the caveman days when we went to college, right? And so that's how I ended up in Texas. And I lived in Texas for about 8 years. And at the time, I was married to Hank Boomershine. He had an opportunity to own a pro shop at Fred Borden's Bowling Center in Ohio at Stonehenge. So we ended up living in Akron for about 4 years. And then ultimately, as we all know, Hank ended up getting that job in Storm, which brought us to Utah, which I loved. I mean, I lived there for almost 15 years. Really, really was just like an amazing, amazing opportunity. And like some of my best friends in the whole world are there. So that's sort of how I ended up in all those places. And in the last, about 5 years ago, I decided to move back to Florida to be near family. And that's sort of how I ended up there. But I will say, going to college in Texas I know we'll get to that later, but that was a pretty amazing choice on all levels.
I think that's something where you'll hear tonight,
Yeah.
and actually we're going to go because I know Kathy, Tammy, and I both college together. Anne Marie went right out on tour. We're going to get to that, but
I'm older
about the
than you
differences.
ladies.
No, but about the differences and how things have changed. Swig it back, Anne Marie. Swig it back. Kathy, New Jersey, born and bred, still in New Jersey. And hold up your T-shirt. Do you have it there? New York Mets fan. We got it. All right. But we went from New Jersey to West Texas State, which is now West Texas A&M. Tell us a little bit about that. And then you meet Jeff Lizzie, and you are now a proprietor in Ohio, Twin Star Lanes. So tell us a little bit about that journey.
So when you went away to college, I remember your senior year, you said, we need a bowler. And I applied and I got in. And so your senior year was my freshman year and Tammy's as well. And so that's how we met. And that had to be the scariest, greatest decision I ever made. And I remember the look on my father's face when we flew out my freshman year and your senior year. Do you remember that? Because now we were both gone and there was no kids at home.
Which was what year, Kath?
It was 1988.
Okay, just pointing that out. Go ahead.
It was August 22nd, 1988. And my father looked like a deer in headlights. And now that I'm a parent, I never forgot what he looked like because, I'll never want my daughter to go far either. But that changed my whole life. I learned how to do my own bills and have my own checking account and all that. And
I learned how to borrow money from you and Carolyn.
And then after we were done with college, I stayed in Texas. And then when Hank and Tammy left to go to Ohio, I remember them saying to me, why don't you come with us? And I go, I don't know anybody in Ohio. What do I want to go to Ohio for? And then fast forward 6 months later, and I met Jeff, and here I am in Ohio, and we own 2 bowling centers. And currently they're Star Lanes, but they will be changed to Twin Star Entertainment.
Excellent. Oh, nice. I mean, it's amazing, though, where we all started. And you even think about where, from your home and the people you meet along the way. And that leads me into a few things. Anne Marie, I want you to talk a little bit about, like I mentioned, Kathy, Tammy, and I bowled college. But in the early 90s, or I'd even say middle 80s to late 80s, college bowling started to resurrect itself a little bit more. You were already out on tour. So tell everybody out there, do you have any regrets not going to college before you went out? I mean, it all turned out well for you, by the way, just saying.
Right.
But do you have any regrets, or what would you tell a younger generation about maybe leaving high school and going right out on tour, or to get an education?
Well, obviously, I would say get an education. At that time, I mean, I was in college. I graduated high school in 1980. Okay. So college bowling wasn't what it, there were some programs. Some programs. I went to a junior college for a few years, and they had a bowling team, and I bowled on it. But I also came from an area, Southern California. The West Coast had a phenomenal junior program.
Yes,
so
it did.
the kind of stuff that you all did in college. Look I even say y'all now. You guys did in college.
Not a word.
I know, it just flows right off my tongue now. We had quite a few tournaments out there. They called them these Big Five tournaments, where it was singles, doubles, and team. And so it kind of was that same environment of that excitement and crowd and cheering for your fellow players and that kind of stuff. But, really, I hadn't bowled that long before I went out on tour. I didn't start bowling until I was 16. And I started bowling. My mother was a good bowler. My dad got me into bowling. So I was bowling tournaments. I really had no visions of being a professional bowler. It just kind of happened. I had success. It happened, and voila, here I am. Yeah. Well, I would definitely tell kids, absolutely, if you have that opportunity and there's availability for scholarship and and all of that. So absolutely, college would be the way to go if you're aspiring to do, absolutely. And also the tours. I mean, it was there. All of us actually were very fortunate to bowl on the tour in a time where it was really flourishing. And
yes. And that's something we're definitely going to get to. Kathy and Tammy. Kathy, you go first this time. What is your favorite memory of being at WT? We have a lot. Again, we're going to try to keep it clean. But what is one of your favorite memories of being in that team atmosphere and becoming such good friends and lifelong friends with Tammy, Brandy LaRock, Robin Marshall? Tell us one of your memories.
I think it was just the fact that our freshman year, we didn't have any subs. It was just the
Right.
5 of us, and we had to make it work.
Yep.
And we never missed practice, and we worked
Mhm.
hard at it, and we were number 1 in the nation, but we couldn't get injured, couldn't get sick.
Right.
And instead of us feeling pressure about that, I never felt any of us feeling that way. I felt we lived on the excitement of knowing we had to do our best.
Right.
My favorite moments of college bowling, because I feel like that was life-changing for me, was just being part of a team, knowing I had people to rely on and that they could rely on me. And it gave you confidence in what you were able to do, not only for yourself, but for other people as well.
Exactly.
And it worked out. I mean, we just all got along. We had great camaraderie, and it showed on the lanes as well as off on the off the lanes.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, exactly. Tammy, what about you?
Yeah, I don't think I realized
Winning
until I
didn't
was-
hurt either.
What's that?
Winning didn't hurt either.
Winning never gets old.
Who doesn't like to win, right?
That's
Right?
so true.
No, I mean, that is one thing, to Kathy's point. And, we were always in contention, always. Every tournament we bowled, we were one of the favorites or the favorite. So,
Right.
A lot of colleges don't, they don't have that luxury. They didn't have that luxury. They're working hard and they're practicing and maybe they, maybe their team wasn't ready yet or whatever the case may be. But, I strolled into Canyon, Texas in 1988, clueless, a
Right.
good bowler, but really sort of rough around the edges, not a lot of experience.
No
and I
way.
just sort of walked into an amazing group of bowlers. Oh, here we go. Okay. See, I've been dealing with this for 32 years now, you see, with this one. But I'm serious, though, So I think that played a major impact on why we got along, not because
Right.
we were always, not just because we were always in contention, but Kathy's right. There really was an immediate, a chemistry. We all,
Yes,
for the
chemistry.
most part, we got along.
Right.
And I think that the reason is we all had the same drive to win.
Yes.
Right.
We
Right.
all wanted to win. And, I
Yes.
still see that today, even in today's collegiate bowlers. I mean, look,
Oh,
we're all
absolutely.
over 50, right? But
Right.
these kids today, same thing. When I see them, they have more energy, throwing one ball than I've probably had in the last 20 years.
Correct. Right. Exactly.
And it
Well,
was
and
the same way. It was the same way
And
for
I
us.
think I think as well now being the Monday morning quarterback, and Anne Marie can agree with her career, but even on tour or collegiate bowling, now you can look back and say, boy, that was really something that we did. Like you can appreciate it more
Sure.
now because when you look back, it's
Mhm.
not easy to do what we accomplished.
No,
And
not at
so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
nice to sit back and go, boy, doesn't that feel good,
right.
I
not
think you're so into it when it's happening and
Yes.
it's so
You
fun.
don't enjoy
it's
Yes.
fun.
But, yeah.
You don't
enjoy the ride.
realize. Yes,
Right, but you know what, Anne Marie? My experience might have been slightly different. Although, Kathy, your first year was mine, but I was quite a bit younger. And I know you're shocked, but a little on the immature side. So, so here I come in and I've got
Oh, Jesus.
I know. I have Carolyn Doran Ballard, who is already an established collegiate player, right? A dominant player. I have Kathy Doran, who immediately when I went, obviously when we met as a team, obviously was a very talented bowler. And, it wasn't just the women. We had some really great men on the men's side. We did have Hank Shine, we had Curtis Yawn. I mean, the list goes on, right? We had Warren Pitt was a local, Kirk A. Duddle. I mean, there are many great bowlers, but, I was very young and to go in and then I had a lot of guidance.
Right.
So,
well, and I think one of the things we're very fortunate about is the fact of, and by the way, in our senior year, we really did finally have probably the most physically talented because we were all grinders.
Yes.
And I happily missed that 10 pin to screw that all up. So anyway, but one of the things that I loved about this was when we were in college is really when we started to meet Anne Marie.
I met you at Red River Doubles.
Red River Double.
Double that we all bowled. It was the most fabulous tournament. in Old Falls Bowl.
I was going to say
Dungeon.
a beautiful establishment.
Dungeon, nowhere.
But you know what? Texas had a lot of great tournaments. There were just so many tournaments in Texas.
But that was a tournament. Anybody who was anybody bowled that tournament.
Yes.
And if you didn't bowl it, you were on a waiting list.
And you had to
get in.
You had every time I bowled that tournament, I was bowling until 3 in the morning.
Yes, I was just going to ask, so who here bowled till 4 o'clock in the morning?
Me.
And who had to get up and bowl at the 8 a.m.?
Me and Rick Ramsey. Rick Ramsey and I.
Ouch.
Yes, Rick Ramsey and I bowled. Yes, and he was a great partner. Yeah.
I bowled Chad Murphy at 2 a.m. one time, and I beat him. I Brooklyned his butt. I got in there and just threw it at the head pin, and he was all PO'd. It was awesome.
I believe, Anne-Marie, you beat Mike Scroggins and I. And did you bowl with John Gaines?
I did bowl with John Gaines.
You were bowling with John Gaines.
Before John Gaines, before anybody knew who. Oops. Look at it. Before anybody knew who John Gaines was.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my God, how excellent. So
Carolyn, but what year is this?
Your partners?
Tell everyone what year this is.
I bowled with Jimmy Davis, and I bowled with Hank. And I bowled with, I can't remember who else, but we bowled against Jimmy Rivera and Rapunzel at like 2 in the morning.
Kathy Nelson.
Kathy Nelson.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is our hair, hey, Tammy, is our hair as long as her hair yet?
No.
Not even
Kathy
close.
just got a cut too, as a matter of fact.
Not even close.
I hope she's watching this.
If she is, hi Kathy, because she's a sweetheart.
By the way, those are the tournaments that I think we were fortunate to be a part of, because it was about grinding out.
Yes.
You didn't have all of the ball selections. Spares were crucial. Crucial.
But think about all the amazing bowlers that came from Texas, Oklahoma during that time period.
Yes.
I mean, an amazing group of bowlers.
Do you know what I find amazing? We didn't even ask what the pattern was.
Never.
Yes, and we didn't even know.
Never.
No,
I don't
it
even
didn't.
think they knew. I don't think they knew.
Was there a pattern?
I don't know what it was called, really. But a great point. You had all the bowlers from Wichita State come in.
Yep.
You had, you name it, Central Missouri, everybody, University of Houston. All of the big name players from college came down to bowl with touring players. Yes, and the best amateur players, like you were mentioning, the John Gaines and all of them came to bowl that tournament. If you were somebody, you bowled Red River doubles. The men's Red River doubles and the mixed doubles were by far the best. You mentioned something earlier, Kathy, when we talked about our dads. I figure I'm going to get this one out of the way as we'll all. I have a funny story, and then I'm going to head on over to Kathy and Anne-Marie. But I always remember the dads more than the moms, which is so sad because my mother says she always gets slighted. But it was our dad. Hi, Nana, because I know Nana's watching because I set it up on her computer. But it was our dad who started us in bowling and was so instrumental. And I'll let Kathy get into that. But my funny story was when I first met Tammy's family. Tammy's family came to the tournament to watch us bowl, and her stepdad, Leonard was coming up the escalator, and I wanted to say good morning to him. And I said, "Hey, Mr. Turner, how are you?"
Oopsie.
And him, he goes just like this. "Hey, Carolyn, how are you?" And he doesn't say anything to me, right? So later on, I realized, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I think Tammy's dad's here. Oh my God, that's not Mr. Turner."
My stepdad.
And but we always saw Lenny and Cheryl. And again, just like family, later on, Cheryl's like, just call him Lenny from now on.
Yep, that's a true story.
So that was oh my gosh. And then, I said to Brian, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Brian," who's your dad, obviously. And that was such a funny story. And we talk about that even to this day. But going back to our dads, and Tammy, I'll end with you because I wanted to start with that little funny. Mixed emotions about how important our dads were. And unfortunately, Bob Pike, Albert Einstein, is no longer with us.
Yep.
I remember getting that phone. I remember getting that phone call. Someone texted me. I was in Las Vegas, and I walked out of the show, and I called Anne Marie immediately, and I said, "Please tell me it's not true." Anne Marie, one of your best memories of your dad and you bowling, whether it's on tour watching you, what's one of them?
Gosh, man, there's so many. My dad was with me for so many tournaments.
Traveled with you on tour in the motorhome?
Yes, he traveled at times with me. And see, really, before I was even married, my dad traveled with me up and down the West Coast in WWPBs and really, my dad was not, people think my dad was kind of quiet. Kathy, you know better. Tammy, you guys, and you all three know that my dad really wasn't that quiet.
No.
But he would always just stand there with his arms crossed and watching me bowl. And if I think of my dad watching me bowl, he would always want to tell me something. And of course, I didn't want to listen, and he'd walk away and be mad at me.
Exactly.
And I'm like, sorry, Dad, come back.
There you go.
Oh, sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to get mad. I can't even pick one memory, but just him always being there for me, and my dad was the one that really encouraged me to be a bowler. And because I feel like he never really lied to me, he didn't sugarcoat it. Let's put it that way. If I did bad, he told me. If I did good, he didn't really say a whole lot. Yeah,
and me too.
He'll come down and go, boy, you really missed a lot of spares that game. What do you think?
Yeah, you're
happened?
struggling today.
Who does that?
You're struggling today. Yep, thanks, Bob. Let me get you a coffee.
But if I really think about it, the most favorite part of me is after when I got older and I really appreciated what I had, because not that I didn't appreciate my dad, but when you have a parent that is always there for you and is always doing what you do, you I don't know if you take it for granted, but I can remember one time when I very first started bowling, my mother had got me a name shirt with my name on the back, and I had pants on, and it was a tournament. I had never bowled in a tournament before, and I did pretty good, and I was bowling good, but all the other girls had skirts on. And this girl said to me, "Nice skirt," like kind of snarky a little bit. Oh. And of course, I wasn't going to, I was like all pissed off and, Spitfire going to tell my dad, well, if I look like that, I wouldn't wear a skirt. She should wear pants. That skirt doesn't look very good on her, because my feelings were hurt. And my dad looked right at me and he said, "You will do no such thing." And and I think I said to her, because they would tease me, "Oh, your dad's here watching." And he would say, "You will do no such thing." He said, "You don't know why those parents aren't there watching." So, don't.
A great life lesson right there.
It was, I was so mad. I was I was in attack mode because I didn't know these people. I was going to be like, well, yeah, my dad's here watching me. Well, where's your parents? He's like, "You will not do that."
Right. Exactly.
So really, I just have a lot of life lessons my dad gave me. I can't think of, I had I was lucky. I was one of the lucky ones.
Exactly.
I had a really good parents.
Excellent. Wonderful mother. Kathy, one thing you remember about Big G with all the bowling?
Well, he didn't miss any sporting events. He came to every softball game, every basketball game. I guess one of my fondest memories as a young kid was the night I shot my first 300. Yeah. Actually, Mommy was there too, and she never came to the bowling alley.
Yes.
And we bowled on Friday nights, and I think you were bowling to the right of me, and Daddy was bowling to the left of me. And my mom happened to work right around the corner from the bowling center, and she stopped in just out of the blue. And I shot my first 300, and it was 4 days before my 18th birthday.
Yes, it was.
What year was that? Something
that was 1984.
Probably 84. And I would like to go on note that my mother was at the bowling center while Kathy shot 300. And again, not there when I shot mine. But that tended to be a situation with my mother. She would not sit behind me because I think I bowled bad when she was around. And if she's watching this, she's yelling at me right now. Usually we can hear her. But no, I'm only kidding. My mom was out saving the world in her political world, thank God, or we wouldn't be the strong women that we are. Tammy.
Yes.
Your dad, how did you get involved in bowling there? Tell us a little bit of your memory of your dad and your stepdad.
Yeah, so all of my parents played some sort of role in my bowling career, or at least the fact that I really enjoyed bowling. But my mother was a really good bowler in her own right. I mean, she threw a backup ball, an average 170. So
Oh, wow.
she did pretty good. I mean, obviously we know that's where I got the pilgrim shoes with the buckles. The suede
I think
shoes.
I saw a comment about that on the.
I think so too.
I
think
did,
so too.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So.
Oh dear.
Yeah, when I started college, I had these like suede, like brown shoes with buckles, and of course, being my friends let me know how ridiculous that was. But my stepfather and my father both played a role in their own way, and so the way my dad Brian, he played a role in that. When I would visit him, we always went bowling.
Mm-hmm.
And this is back, the wax pencil days,
Right.
You got the.
And your hand gets hot.
Right, the projectors and the wax pencils, right. And so we would go bowling.
Give me a fence.
Right. So, he always took me bowling. And then at some point, and I don't remember when this was, but at some point I started beating him. He was always better than me. And at some point, I started beating him. And that was like, a revelation, like, ooh,
right.
I'm starting to become a good bowler. So I do have a lot of good memories with my dad. I have a lot of the old plastics, the sheets.
I love it.
The wax pencil.
Yes.
And then, with my stepfather, he also was a good bowler. My stepfather, Lenny, and my mom bowled a league. And I know Lenny bowled a men's league. So at one point, if I recall right, he bowled a couple of leagues. So obviously bowling was always in my life at some point.
Right.
So, my mother was always that person every Saturday morning watching me bowl. My stepfather worked. But where Lenny comes into play is, I didn't know anything about college bowling. Nothing.
Right.
And he read Bowler's Journal. So he knew the ins and outs of the Wichitas, the Nebraskas, right. And at that time, West Texas State University. And he knew about this. So he is the one who suggested these colleges. And that's sort of how I ended up at West Texas A&M, is because my stepfather,
Right. So,
nice.
So it's Lenny we have to thank for this.
Right.
Oh, sweet. So Leonard, if you're watching, peace to you, brother.
Right.
Okay. So we got a little background. And of course, like I said, we're already 37 minutes in. By the way, we're going to have to do this again. All right. So now we're going to talk about a couple of stories. So get your thinking caps on. But before you start with the story or your favorite city, who comes to mind as the bowler when I say these words?
Oh, boy.
Here we go. Go.
Peas and carrots and dead weight.
Peas and carrots and dead weight.
I'm in menopause. My memory is shot.
I'm going to give you a hint.
Yeah, give us a hint.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
They have good pizza bagels.
Yes. Do you remember? Del probably knows what I'm talking about.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Peas and carrots.
That was Carol Giannotti. That was a
Carol Giannotti. Is dead weight? Dead weight is Carol Giannotti.
Dead weight.
Sure.
I don't.
Dead weight has got to be Carol
Peas
Giannotti.
and carrots. It was corn.
It was corn, Kathy. It was corn.
Okay, we don't need to expand on what occurred.
We can't elaborate because it involves a late night.
There's a lot of Carol Giannotti stories, but they can't be told.
Yes.
Yukon and corn.
I actually do have a Carol Giannotti story that I could tell. Can I tell it?
And whether Carol's watching or not, I think this is free game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the first tournaments, I think it was the first tournament, as the Dorans say, the tournament.
Yes.
That my parents came to. I think the tournament was
Ocean Springs, Mississippi.
It was Ocean Springs.
It was Ocean Springs, and I think we stayed late. And long story short, for whatever reasons, Carol needed a ride back to the hotel. So
hence the dead weight.
Yes. So
Yep.
So at that time I was it was my first year, so even though I knew Carol from Team USA, she was on the Australian bowling team. But to me, she was still like Anne Marie, like she was that LPBT famous bowler still at that time, right? So we gave her a ride home. So she gets in the car, and I'm dying. I'm like, oh my God, Carol Giannotti's in the backseat of my car. And my parents were like giddy. They were like, oh my God, we have Carol Giannotti in the back. In the back. It was like it was so awesome because we're just taking her back to the hotel, and we're all like this. Whoa.
And you know what? If they had traveled every week, they would have given her a ride home every week. They would have been thrilled. They would have become best friends.
Yes, and there's more to that story. Yes. It involves a garbage can in the back seat.
Yes,
a garbage bag in the back seat, but we're going to leave that one alone.
We'll leave that totally correct.
Yeah.
That's why I said we all have to come back. Okay, so Blue Bandit, Anne Marie, Blue Bandit was the name of your motorhome.
My motorhome,
Tell me one of your favorite cities or tournaments that we bowled on tour.
Oh gosh, Pittsburgh does come to mind as always had fun in Pittsburgh. I like that city. I like the people there. But we had our motorhomes. The caravanning was so fun. Although I have to tell you, one of my favorite stories. It really wasn't at a bowling tournament. It was when we all went down to when we took our motorhomes to New Orleans.
Oh God, I didn't think you were going to bring that one up, but go ahead.
It was fun.
Yeah, but what was his
name? Anne-Marie, we can't tell half of the stories that you want to tell.
No, but what was the guy's name? He had a name that the guy who had no socks on and the.
But I do. I don't remember his name. But no, I'll go back to my favorite. I always liked you. Yes,
nobody knows what you're talking about. You guys have to elaborate.
No, we have to do on the. Okay, my favorite places to bowl. I always love to bowl in Detroit. I like to bowl in Detroit. Yep. Okay. I like to bowl in Pittsburgh. I like to bowl in Dallas, and I like to bowl in Florida. I like bowling.
Yeah. Excellent. Now, Kathy and Tammy, but Kathy, you're going to go next. The gentleman that we met on Bourbon Street was called Igor. So,
yeah, he was in a voodoo shop. He was in a voodoo shop, and I bought an alligator foot from him for good luck. Right?
I bought the worry dolls.
The worry dolls and the money candles. Remember, Kath? Kathy and I were rooming together, and we were in New Orleans. We went to a voodoo shop where Igor sold us the money candles, the worry dolls that you put under your pillow and you hope for money, right? And then I bought an alligator foot, which I wouldn't do now. But at the time, I bought an alligator foot for good luck, right?
I bought the oil that you rubbed on your feet. Yeah. And who won the tournament that week, girls?
I don't remember.
I do.
Jan.
No.
That was
it was Carolyn.
I'm sorry. I think I remember, but I tried to forget.
It was Carolyn. I think the year before it was Debbie McMullen.
It was Kathy.
Good old Froggy. Shout out to Froggy.
Yes,
shout out to Froggy
and her mother
and Peggy. And shout out to Jan and her family who are going through a little bit of a tough time.
Yes.
So, Kathy, favorite city and/or tournament?
Well, I always loved Pittsburgh as well. I thought they treated us great there. We would go around the corner to the Hallmark store every year. That was the greatest Hallmark store. Oh boy!
Didn't you get your Christmas cards there?
Yes,
I might have. Yeah. They just always had the nicest Hallmark store.
They did.
I liked Santa Maria, California.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Santa Maria, California. Not to cut you off, Kathy. Okay, I believe Santa Maria, California. Stockings over the head, correct?
Lori Nichols.
Oh yes. And Judy Sutar. Judy Sutar too.
Hey, pantyhose is a whole nother conversation here. Pantyhose in the 90s was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Pantyhose was a thing.
But they belonged on your legs. No?
On your head.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm dying here. Okay, Kathy. So Kathy likes the Pittsburgh. Tammy, yours. Favorite tournament, favorite city?
Vegas. I like Samstown specifically.
Oh, Kathy.
Before tour it would be the Showboat, but Samstown, I used to, every year, Don Johnson used to be there.
Okay.
And, I wouldn't, every year I'd finish bowling and I would go to the bar, of course, and he would be sitting there and we would literally sit down and chat. It was this craziest thing, right?
Right.
Anyway, so Vegas, Pittsburgh,
Okay.
also, and Delaware. Right. I like Delaware.
We got all alcohol poisoning. Go ahead, keep going.
Wait, which town did we not get alcohol poisoning? Anyway,
that was.
Well, back in the day, this was when the tournament was over.
Right,
and I liked Rockford actually. I always bowled bad in Rockford.
Oh yeah, Rockford.
They had
I did.
wood lanes.
Rockford was
shot,
fun.
right? They had wood lanes. I mean, I averaged about 160 there, but I loved Rockford because the people, obviously that was the home of the LPBT, PWBA,
right.
And they really treated
Rockford
us like
was
family,
fun.
right?
Right.
And
not
and
just
Dallas.
Cherry Bowl, Don Carter
Don
and Cherry
Carter.
Bowl.
Yes,
Don
correct.
Carter and Cherry Bowl.
Yep. And Dallas, Fort Worth area.
I agree with all of your answers. I absolutely loved the Reno mixed doubles.
Oh, Reno,
that was fun.
Reno is
Reno,
always
I absolutely love.
Yep.
And Samstown. So now I'm going to tell just a little tidbit of the three girls that are sitting here as you're all looking at them.
Whoa.
And we were done with the tour, and our last tournament was always Samstown. And the majority of the time after that Samstown tournament, there was a shootout later on as the years went on. So people either stayed another day, but basically there were people at the blackjack table or whatever in their bowling shoes or still in their bowling attire. I mean, we went right from bowling.
Ellis, you'll have to take it from me, Ellis.
If you didn't make the TV show, we had a game plan.
Mm-hmm.
So what I remember was one year we finally got done. We went to eat. We all changed. I'm crying here because my eyes are watering. And we all said, hey, we're all going to go to gamble. And we started out in one area. We all started to branch off. Tammy and I would start at blackjack. Kathy and Anne Marie usually at the slots. Video poker. Anyway, as the night went on, I think it was probably, 3:30, 4 o'clock. And I'm still walking around. I said, I'm going to change my luck a little bit. I'm going to go to some odd machines. And as I approached the second floor, because I knew where all the hideouts were, because you got to admit, we all had our spots, right?
Yeah,
we did. You had to find your little hideouts.
If I was looking for Kathy, I knew exactly where to go. If I was looking for Anne Marie, I knew where to find her. Tammy knew where to find her. I'm walking around about 4 o'clock. I get off at the elevator on the second floor, and over in the corner, I get off the elevator, and there's Anne Marie just sitting there. Here in the court, like a rat. Right? And I scream, I'm like,
nobody bothers you that way.
I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, this is not your normal spot. And I'm thinking, and it's 4 o'clock, and I'm yelling at her like we're all walking around doing the same thing. I go to the other side of the casino, and there I find Kathy sitting in some obscure place, hitting them, and I'm going, what's everybody doing? Tammy, I had no idea where you were until I went back downstairs. I was headed to the room, and there you were with your bowling shoes still on, sitting playing blackjack. I knew it was a good day.
Carolyn, for 25 years, Kathy and I gambled with our bowling shoes, our name plaques, our bowling attire. We were hardcore. Like, I'll give you an example. Now, Carolyn was great, but she would bowl and then go back to the room and change. No, Kathy and I went straight to the slots. It could be noon, and if we didn't have to bowl till the next day at 6 o'clock, well,
right. Now
it was hard to get to your room those days.
And we have about 5 more minutes, and we have so much more to talk about. That's why I said after the new year we're gonna have another one of these little chats. But we have so many more stories. One of the things I do want to say is you were right, Tammy. When we bowled though, it was all bowling.
It was all bowling. Yeah, we didn't.
All bowling because we bowled long formats.
Yeah, 42 games, 3 days.
Yeah, they were long.
3 days. Uh-huh.
Right. So you'd bowl practice on Sunday plus pro-am, qualifying Monday and Tuesday.
5-10 games. Mm-hmm.
Match play Tuesday and Wednesday, TV show on Thursday, travel on Wednesday, and we had pro-ams on Saturday.
Yep.
Some of the
For
time.
which we were not paid. Unless we went to Delaware or Rockford or Pittsburgh, maybe.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
one of the things I really wanted to point out to, especially everybody who's watching, and if some of the younger players are, longer formats, longer weeks. We sometimes 9 weeks in a row. There was no going home. It was a great time in all of our lives. Great time in all of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
What piece of advice do you have for younger players? And not it doesn't have to be a worldly piece of advice, but what's something you would like to tell the girls that are now doing what we did at that that time frame? What would you tell them, Kathy?
Enjoy the moment and don't take it for granted.
Excellent, rock solid on that one, Anne Marie.
Ooh, that was a good one, Kathy. Boy, Carolyn, you're really putting us on the spot. I'm going to say, realize that your competitors, you're not always competing. Get to know your fellow competitors a little bit more, because these are the people that enjoy what you enjoy, and you're going to have some lifetime friends.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Again.
Well, that's good advice.
Tammy?
So what I would tell you is, it's always good to sort of judge where you're at and your accomplishments based on the people that came before you. But I would say pave your own path. Don't settle and say, well, the player of the year wins 5 tournaments every year, so if I win 5 tournaments, I'm the best. No. Correct. Pave your own path. Win 6 tournaments. Win 7 tournaments. Use it as a motivation, of course, right? Have the respect. Right. Respect those players that came before you. But I would say pave your own path. That's what I would. That's
right.
How I feel.
Well, it's funny because we think about it. I mean, look at all of us now, and when the youngest in the group finally turns 50, we've been around a long time.
That's me. I'm the youngest by far for anyone on this chat.
Yes, we know.
Yes, you are, Tammy. Yes, you are.
And we are still lifelong friends, because I think it goes back to what all of you said. Even when we met each other, even though we were in college and Anne Marie was a professional bowler, we treated her with respect because we looked up to her.
Correct.
And she, in return, really gravitated towards us into saying, hey, keep working at your game, or hey, I'll see you at the next tournament.
But Anne Marie was a mentor. Not every player is like that. Anne Marie was confident enough in her own self to help other bowlers.
Yes.
She knew, hey, look, they're great and I can help them, but I don't care. I'm amazing. I can still beat them. But
well, we're all on the. I don't know that I mean, we're all on the same path. Everybody's trying to do the same thing. There can only be one winner.
Right.
Each one of us, while we're competing, we don't have anything to do with what the other person's doing. You just want to do your best.
Yeah.
And you know what? If your best is better than mine that week, hey, good for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with all of it. One of the things I really enjoyed, and I try to explain, is that all of us were on different staffs at a point in our career, especially at that time frame.
Yeah.
But we all stayed and watched each other bowl. You watched people from other companies because you were friends with them. It had nothing to do with who you were representing. It had everything to do with the admiration and the happiness you had that somebody was fulfilling their dream or their goal. Because you know what? It may only be one time. Who knows? I mean, like you said, Kathy said, enjoy the moment, because you go week to week to week, and you're like, oh my God, when are we going home? And you're like, 10 years later, you're going to say to yourself, wow, I wish I had that week to week to week again. And you want to relive it all over again, It was more of a family atmosphere, which I am so thankful for. I don't know what I would have done without the tribe here all the years on tour, even to this day, considering our lives have all taken different paths. Proprietor, pro shop operator. You work in the
just a person.
Car dealership in the finance department, but we've all made our choices. We've gotten, married or had children, and whatever it be, we've shared in so many parts of our lives, and that's what I think the key is.
Yeah.
To what this bowling
I think that
is
the
all
traveling.
about.
I think the 9-week swings when not going home lent itself to a little bit more camaraderie than
I
what
agree.
today, where there's people flying in and out, and it's
Yeah.
more of a, it just doesn't
I agree.
lend itself to that. And the same on the men's tour. I mean, they go and they bowl a bunch of tournaments all at one time, and then they're gone. They don't see
Right.
each other as often. Think about it. We hung out half
Right.
the year with each other. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right, but
Yeah.
you can see, these young bowlers today, though. I mean, obviously they're still developing friendships,
Sure.
on the same level that we did, just in a different manner. I mean, they have a little bit of adversity that we didn't have,
Right.
where we just bowled. Some of these
Right.
bowlers are bowling and doing other things. So to their credit, they're keeping the game alive.
Right.
Because
Yes.
they love the game.
Yep.
They
Right.
love the game, and they're dedicated.
Right.
So
But I
Well,
think
we
back
had-
then,
we-
I think back then too, the mentality was totally different. I don't think back
Yeah.
then, I know on my end, I never got the impression any of us were entitled to anything.
Right.
No.
We went out and we
No.
bowled because we loved to bowl. We wanted to win tournaments, and we wanted to do, like Tammy said, we wanted to pave our own way because this
Right.
was each of our individual dreams.
Mhm.
We
Right.
just happened to be sharing it together.
Together.
I think the mentality today is a little different, and
Right.
I hope the young generation doesn't get caught up in what's in it for me, instead of just going out there and getting what you feel you can get.
Right.
Yeah.
Or help
From your
somebody
talent.
else, or help somebody else
someone
do
else.
it. Because
You know-
I think the mentoring and the just trying to help people make
Correct.
themselves better only makes the sport better. And I think
Right.
we need more of that, because
I just want people to
Right.
play because they love it.
right.
Yeah.
And
Bowl
I
because
think
you love to bowl.
right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do that. It's just there's not as many weeks, so you have to
Right.
find something else to do. But this was fantastic. I mean, I wish we could stay for another hour. I told you we would go an hour. But quickly, Tammy, you had your WP
Oh,
mug.
yeah. Yeah.
Sisters Best Friends, a winning combination. Kathy and I from
Oh my
Pat.
gosh. That's
Aw.
right. That's
So
right.
one of the things I want to mention is, remember, people used to give us things out on tour, right?
Oh,
West Texas
yes.
State University.
Oh, yes. Carolyn, I have a little gem real quick.
What's
So
a gem?
in college, when we were in college back in the late 80s, well, Carolyn, you finished in 89.
Yep.
But Kathy, we went 88 to 92. St. Louis was
Yes.
a big tournament.
Yes.
I mean, it was almost as big as collegiate nationals, right?
Yes.
Right.
So
Right.
I think we came in second or third with you, Carolyn, me and Kathy. But when our senior year, Kathy and I, we won St.
Yes.
Louis. So I actually have the watch that they
Oh
gave us.
my God.
God, Tammy, look at you.
Yes.
That's
So when
awesome.
when you won St. Louis back in the day, they gave you a watch.
Yes.
I still have mine.
God, I gotta
That
find
should tell you
mine.
how important that tournament was. It was really
Yes.
like that tournament was almost more amazing to win than nationals
Yes.
itself in some ways,
Right, right.
But so there's our watch there.
That's awesome.
Oh, that
There's
is
a good
awesome.
throwback. I
Okay.
love it.
Wow, nice.
That's a 37-year-old
God, please. Well,
watch.
I can't thank you all enough. Obviously my sister's on here, Tammy from another sister, Anne-Marie, you're like a sister. We talk all the time. And we had some great times. More to come, because we're still going to meet up at the compound in Edmond, Oklahoma.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We are, when all this
Big
crazy
party, yes.
COVID,
When all
yes,
this Corona is gone, yes.
we are all going to Oklahoma. But ladies, I want you all to have a happy Thanksgiving. I loved seeing you. I love you all, and we will talk soon. Thank you.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Carolyn, thanks. Happy Thanksgiving. Love you guys.
Love you
I love
guys.
you too.
Bye.
So
All right.
you heard it here. There's a couple things, and I'll probably get a little choked up here towards the end, like I always do. We talked about our parents. If we teach one thing out there to
Are we still on?
and the one thing that
don't
we
know.
do on the youth is they take you
No
everywhere
way.
you go. They
Yeah.
take you everywhere you go. They sit behind you, whether you're bowling, good or bad. Make sure you thank your parents, because yep, when they're no longer with you, it's an unfortunate thing. We miss them terribly. So make sure to hug them. If you're with them in the same household for this COVID, but right after COVID's over, make sure you always thank them. They're the most important people in your life. if not for your siblings. Mentor someone. I've been on this kick lately, even in my turbo, looking down lane on Monday. Say something nice to someone, especially to the youth. We need these young ladies, young men to continue to bowl, to grow our sport. To the ones that are currently out on tour, if you ever feel you need something, reach out to one of the older generation. They will help guide you in the right direction. We need to help each other. It's the only way our sport is going to grow. We are there for each other. But again, I want to thank my friends, Tammy, Anne Marie, and Kathy, who are like sisters to me. One is actually blood related, so that's even better. But I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Please be safe out there. And I am going to bring the crew, even with more. We've got a bunch of other girls that touch base with me. We may have 4 or 5 of us on here. Who knows? But I look forward to seeing everyone next Tuesday night. Again, have a safe holiday and be kind to each other.